Welcome to the Miracle Morning Mastermind. We have been um, experiencing some breakthroughs in the topic of standards. Standards. So I'm looking forward to hearing what has been impacting you all as it pertains to that concept of standards. And if you see somebody missing from this morning, shoot them a reminder. But the topic of standards has been the new topic. And we've been discussing the idea that those that we're currently living are standards. Whatever we're experiencing right now is greatly due to our current standards. And that's neither good or bad. It just is. And I asked the question yesterday, what happens when your standards match your purpose? What happens when you raise your standards to match your purpose, your greater purpose? And we talked about how when people match their standards to their purpose, their goal, it means they find a space where they refuse to settle for less. And can you think of a time in your life or in the observation of other people's lives, have you ever seen people who refuse to settle for less, and somehow, some way, they just end up getting exactly what they refuse to settle for less than? Like somehow, some way, once a person refuses to settle for less, that means they set a new standard and they refuse to settle for less. It's just a matter of time before that becomes their new normal. That's this concept of standards. So when you decide, commit, make an irrevocable commitment to your new standard, everything must adjust around you or within you to cause that to be your new life. Did you realize you had that much power? Do your team members know they have that much power? That we can decide and commit to a new standard, and all of a sudden we transform into the type of person that upholds those standards. So when I used to look at people who were earning over $1 million a year, for example, people who are living their purpose, people who were highly productive people, I used to wonder, what is it that they had that I didn't have? And I finally found the answer. The answer is they have a standard that they've committed to that requires that. They have a standard that they've committed to, and they refuse to settle for anything less. So in that process of going from where they are to where their new standard is, they start making the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical shifts that match that new standard. Something shifts spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Physically in terms of activity, focus, priority. Physically in terms of physical environment. Physically in terms of the people that they allow in their space. Everything shifts, consciously or unconsciously. Everything shifts to match your new standard. How powerful are you? So today I want to elaborate on standards. A concept came to me this morning, and I'm calling it time and productivity standards. What are your time and productivity standards? I'm going to point out 5 different versions of a time and productivity standard. So some people have no time and productivity standards. And evaluate yourself or your organization and think about who fits into each of these 5. Where do you fit and where do your team members fit within these standards, or the people in your life, the people in your family, the people in your business? The person who, and let's take network marketing or Legal Shield. Let's take a person in your organization that has 0 time and productivity standards. Their language might be something like, oh, if I get around to doing anything, I will. If I get around to talking to anybody at some point at any time, I will. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's if that's where they want to be. I have referral partners like that. They don't have any particular time or productivity standards, but if they come across somebody who can benefit, they'll reach out to them at that time. How much productivity can you expect from someone who has 0 time and productivity standards? Help me out.
Can't expect anything.
You got it. Okay,
Not
so
expect. You can't expect. No.
there we go. Okay, so let's take another one. Another one is someone who has monthly time and productivity standards. That person has decided there's a certain amount of productivity that must happen before this month is out. That person usually has much more production than someone that has no time or productivity standards. Why? Because there's a sense of urgency that kicks in before the month is over that says, I must produce something before this month is out. So because that's the new standard that they're committed to, all of a sudden something inside of them kicks in just like a thermostat and says, uh-oh, the temperature is below below 74 degrees. So it's time to kick in the heat and get it back up to the standard that we've set. So that urgency seems to come out of nowhere. Oh my gosh, it's almost the end of the month. Let me produce, and voila, it seems miraculous. Every single month, some production happens before the end of the month. Why is that production happening for that person that's not happening for the person with no time and productivity standards? Because they have a standard, a higher standard. But that person usually struggles to qualify in the consistency program called Performance Club. Why? Because that activity may or may not be enough to qualify. It's enough to get some production in at the last minute, at the end of the month, where it's too late to get enough production to consistently qualify Performance Club, or whatever your version of that might be if anybody's listening to this in a different business or different walk of life. Because everything I teach is for entrepreneurs, influencers like infopreneurs, and network marketers. These are universal concepts. How does it fit into what you're doing? So the next standard, time and productivity standard we're going to discuss is someone who has a weekly time and productivity standard. This is a person who's decided that, you know what, I've got to have a certain amount of productivity every week. That decision can be, sometimes that Somebody consciously makes that decision. Sometimes people have unconsciously make that. They don't even know they made the decision, but you can tell what their standard is, because here's what happens when you have a weekly time and productivity standard in your business. There's an urgency that kicks in every week. Oh my gosh, it's almost the 7th of the month. I gotta kick it in. The thermostat automatically kicks in, and whether you're conscious or unconscious, whether you're aware or unaware, there's an urgency that seems to come out of nowhere. And you're like, oh, I got to get busy. I got to get productive. I got to make these calls. I got to reach out. I got to do these follow-ups, because you have consciously or unconsciously set your standard at weekly for time and productivity. This person is likely to have sales, signups, customers, recruits on a weekly basis, because the standard is set for weekly time and productivity. How are we doing so far? Is this landing?
Yes, yes.
But we're going to do 2 more, and then I want to hear from you all. What are you taking away? So get ready now to tell me what you're taking away. Tell us what you're taking away and how you're going to utilize this moving forward for yourself and or your team. Most importantly, for yourself. So then we have the person that's has daily product. Now let me tell you about the person with the weekly. That person probably has weekly production. That person is probably consistently in the performance club on autopilot without stress at the end of the month, because they have production every week. And then the person with daily productivity standards. Ooh, watch out for this person. This person, when daily becomes the productivity, the time and productivity standard, this person has an urgency that kicks in every day. That thermostat kicks in. Oh my gosh, the day is almost over and we haven't done enough productivity yet today. And then all of a sudden for the day, a certain amount of calls, a certain amount of text follow-ups, reach outs, appointments, it just kicks in because the standard is set for daily. Somebody's accidentally using the whiteboard or clicking on things. Can you all see me or y'all see a whiteboard? Okay, I think I got it.
Okay.
Okay. So daily, what happens with the person who has a daily time and productivity standard in their business? Well, boom, they end up having production every day or every other day. Why am I saying or every other day? Because sometimes the activity that kicks in today doesn't produce results until the next day or 2 or 3. So the person that has daily time and productivity standards ends up producing activity daily that results in production every few days or every day, depending on the intensity of that daily production. That is a person who's more likely to qualify somewhere between senior director making 3 to 5,000 a month and executive director making 5 to 10,000 a month or more. They have a daily time and productivity standard. That's why we have a phrase ED equals
Every day.
every day.
Everything.
Because if you enroll somebody every day between you and your team, let's call that 30 signups. Let's call it 25 customers in a month. Somebody help me out. What's 25 times 50? You have a calculator.
1250.
1250. So if 25 people enrolled a $50 customer, that's $1,250 in sales. If what's 25 times 60?
3,000.
Well,
1,500.
1,500. So 25 times 60. Yeah. So now that's more than enough to qualify executive director. So 25 people buying a $60 plan or one $60 customer every day. That's executive director. You're on track to earn 5 to 10,000 a month or more. How do you do it? It's not about, it's the standard, the daily time standard. Are y'all seeing this thing? I wish I
I am.
understood this. I wish I understood this sooner. How about you?
Yes.
And I'm so glad I understand it now, more importantly. How about you?
Yes. Yes. Wow.
So the final one is someone that has hourly standards in their business. And you can look at any business person, any business, any type of business people. There's some business people that have hourly standards. That means every hour that leader, their thermostat, their standard is set that productivity must happen every hour that we're in business hours. Every business hours, there must be productivity. So that person is not just sitting back, waiting for business to happen. They're being very intentional, very productive. They have an urgency that kicks in because the standard is that every hour we must be productive. What are we here for? If I'm going to be in business anyway, I'm going to be productive. There's a scripture, First Thessalonians 4:11 through 12. First Thessalonians 4:11 through 12. And Paul says something like, once again, I'm telling you all, mind your business. Focus on your own business. Be productive. Be self-sufficient. Work your craft so you can be self-sufficient, lacking nothing, not dependent on other people, not distracted by what everybody else is doing. Be productive in your own business. Work with your hands, with your craft, so you can lack nothing. What? Who put that in the Bible? So you can lack nothing? So I'm not supposed to be lacking anything
Mm-mm.
when I do what wisdom says to do. So an hourly standard, that thermostat is kicking in every hour or whatever it is. It might be for some, it might be every 3 hours. They're like, okay, every 3 hours, I got to have a certain amount of productivity throughout the day by 9 a.m., by 12 p.m., by 3 p.m., by 6 p.m., by 9 p.m. Hey, how much production did we do in the last, did I cause in the last 3 hours? They're asking that like every 3 hours. How much productivity did I create in the last 3 hours? And by 9 a.m., by 12 p.m., by 3 p.m., by 6 p.m., by 9 p.m. So they got what? Let's see, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9. That's at least 5 major spurts of productivity happening in that person's business every day compared to somebody who's only once a day or once a week or once a month. What's the difference in productivity? Massive difference. We have the same 24 hours, but one person is getting production, massive production 5 times a day. Another person is getting production once a week. Another person is getting production once a month. And another person is barely getting production. As I'm saying this, I'm hearing the parable of the talents. Wow. There's a correlation here to the parable of the talents. He gave all of them talents. One of them buried it, did nothing with it. Another one did doubled it, with 5 and another one doubled it with 10. And then at the end of the day, the person said, give it all to the one who was the most productive. Woo! Why would Jesus tell us that parable? Give it to the one that has the most production. Why would I give it to the person who's most productive versus the person that seems to be the most needy? Well, if I give it to the person who's most needy, but they're not productive, the only person that's going to be fed is the needy person. And they're still needy the next day. But if I give it to the person who's the most faithful steward, the most productive steward, not only can I count on them to produce and provide for their family, but they have enough abundance and overflow to also help the needy. Wow. So hourly. So I had a shift. I raised my standard, y'all. Y'all should be so proud of me. I'm so proud of me. I raised my standard. I set a new standard for myself this past week, and it's been so fun. It's been so fun and so rewarding so far. And I started experimenting. So I've been experimenting with new standards, new time standards. So, for example, one of our standards is 2 to 5 today, no matter what, right? Well, what's the time standard for that? Is it 2 to 5 today before midnight? Is it 2 to 5 today before the sun goes down? Is it 2 to 5 today before 6 p.m., before 3 p.m., before 12 p.m.? I decided Tuesday through Friday, I'm getting mine done before 8:30 a.m. And at first it was like, all right, what do I have to do? Okay, how can I? How can I is the question. Man, I was barely doing it before the midnight. How can I get it done before 8 a.m.? That's the right question. When we ask wiser questions, we get wiser answers. How can I do it? Not can I do it? How can I do it? And all these answers came. Oh, I could prepare the night before and make a list of who are the 2 to 5 people I'm going to reach out to tomorrow. Then I don't even have to think about it. That's one way to do it. I could go on the social media and reach out to 2 to 5 people that are connected to me on social media, or 2 to 5 people in a group. Oh, that's one way to do it. And then all the people I meet when I go out for the day are extra. So I made this commitment. I got an accountability partner, and I said to my accountability partner, every day, Tuesday through Friday, I'm getting my 2 to 5 done before 8:30 a.m. from now on, and I'm going to blast it out to my team to inspire them and encourage them. That's why you all get that message from me that says, quick Performance Club success check-in. I just finished my 2 to 5 today before 8:30 a.m. Here are the names. Here's where I met them. Have you done yours already, or are you finishing that right now? And I love the responses I'm getting from you all. Like, oh, I'm getting on it right now, or I got one, or I beat you to it. I'm already on it. It's creating this fun productivity early in the day. How much more productivity is happening throughout the day when I'm getting it done that early in the day? What kind of domino effect am I creating within my organization when I get it done early in the day? First, launching myself into my 2 to 5 today and leading those people into the weekly events. Then reaching out to my new people to inspire them to get theirs done, launch them into their 2 to 5 a day so we can lead their folks into the weekly events. And then launching my Focus 5, my Focus 10, or my Focus 10 per leg into their 2 to 5 today, early. I'm telling you, it's amazing. And Mondays, I have most of my Zooms back to back. So Monday is by 11:30 a.m. for me. But it's been so fun. So I want to hear from you all. What did you all take away the most from this? Put it in the chat. But if you're able to unmute, we'll hear from those we can get to, one or two vocally. Everybody else put in the chat what you're
I'm
taking away
ready.
from this and what you're going to do. Yes, ma'am.
I'm ready. Okay. Listen, first of all, I'm an executive director, and I'm an executive director maker. Okay. You got started and you talked about zero time and productivity standards. And of course, you know you can't expect anything from those people. Now, then you talked about the monthly time and productivity standard, and then you got to talking about in okay, the big thing was you may not qualify here. That was an ouch moment for me, and that was a big ouch moment for me. I got stuck in that for a minute, and then you went to weekly time and productivity, where a person is consistently in PC club, and I mean, then you talked about daily, and a person, the urgency kicks in, and the person talks about, oh my God, the day is almost over, and then you say to yourself, I got to get going, and these people have activity every day, which equals to production. And so, I mean, you went on, and I won't take all of it up, but I got I got that ouch moment, and it's kind of no, it's not embarrassing. It's prodding me, and making me think about, hey, you know what? I don't want to be right here where I just might qualify and then I might not qualify. And yeah, I got to get my standard up. I'm working on my
Woo!
standard. That standard piece, boy, it's a big piece, coach. Thank you for that.
It's life changing, isn't it?
Yes, it makes
And
me
you got the
want to.
power. And who's got the power?
I've got the power through Christ.
Everybody
I've got
unmute.
the power.
Make some noise for Deidre Glover. Whoop woo!
Miss
Woo,
Glover.
woo,
Go,
woo,
Miss
Miss Glover.
Glover.
Woo.
I'll go
Pastor,
next, Coach. This is Ellen Jefferson in Washington, D.C. I am an executive director and an executive director maker. What I'm taking away from this is that our success level or our outcome is directly related to our input and intentionality. It's all up to us. It's, and we have to hold, as business people, we have to hold our time sacrosanct. It's very easy to get distracted. People call you for, I was the ATM for everybody, most of my life. And since I've been with the Miracle Morning Group, I'm keeping account of how I'm handling my time. And I haven't mastered it yet. I'm not up to your level, coach, but I'm certainly able to build my chops to say no so that I can focus on my business. And I'm being very intentional about how I spend my time. So thank you for that. It was a great lesson.
so good. Make some noise for Miss Ellen Jefferson. Whoop woo!
Way to go, Ellen. Yes.
Woo-hoo.
Yes,
Woo
yes,
woo!
yes, yes.
And
Okay, I'm going to be next.
I see Pastor Glenn's hand and Lorraine Stanbury. Lorraine Sambury. Pastor Glenn.
Yes, good morning. Glenn Schroeder, Sacramento, California. I'm an executive director and executive director maker. I represent Team Franco. I'll try to be quick, Coach. When you were talking, every time you spoke about the thermostat, I said, "Oh, he's talking about automatic." So yes, I get that, and I want that. As you were speaking, though, I realized that the standard is actually the tool that we could use, and so I shoot guns and duck hunt sometimes, but if you want to make sure that you're going to hit the target, you have to get closer to the target. That's the activity, the type of tool you use. So if you want to make sure you don't miss, which in all of those, once a month, uh, even to the point of twice a day, it that determines whether or not you hit the target. The target is as far as the PC qualified. The closer you get to that target and you use the right tool, which is the standard, you can't miss. You can't miss. So I want to start using a shotgun is what I want to start using. Thanks for letting me
Make some
share.
noise for Pastor Glenn Strader. Woo
Woo,
woo!
woo,
Woo,
all
woo,
right,
woo,
Pastor
Pastor
woo.
Glenn.
Glenn.
Appreciate that.
Wow.
A great analogy.
Miss Sambury.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Yeah, Coach, you've been talking about the standards and stuff for quite a few days now. And the summation, what I see, it's like having a habit. It takes about 2 months to form a habit. And in so doing, it will be just like automatic. It's a paradigm shift. We have to make sure that that habit is maintained. It's like you exercise, and I do it every morning, and it's become like now a lifestyle. It's been a lifestyle. So when we do set that standard, the consistency of keeping that, it will become easier and easier each time. So the whole point is for us to just push, focus, and be consistent.
Woo!
Thank you.
Make some noise for Miss Lorene
Yes.
Sandberry. Woo woo!
Consistency. That's
Woo!
it.
All right, for
Yeah.
consistency.
Go, Miss Sandberry.
Thank you.
Did I hear another lady share trying to chime in earlier as we wrap up? Or was that Miss Sandberry?
That was Miss Sandberry.
Okay, perfect. All right, family. So here's the challenge of the day. Make sure your standard matches your purpose. Make sure your standard matches your actual purpose that you're committed to. Some people will hear this and go, okay, which standard? And they want to start with a standard. Which standard do I want to take on? And that's fine. But the bigger question is, what standard is required to accomplish what I've committed to accomplishing? Have I committed to accomplishing just Performance Club? What standard is necessary? Have I committed to accomplishing a senior director, earning 3 to 5,000 a month or more part-time? What standard is necessary? What time and productivity standard is necessary for that? Have I committed to becoming a consistent executive director, earning 5 to 10,000 a month or more? What time and productivity standard matches that? And am I developing executive directors? Do I have somebody on my team that set the standard for one of those levels? Have I helped them identify which standard is necessary for that level? So the challenge of the day, make sure you raise your standard to match the goal that you're committed to. Love you all. Have a great day. ED equals?
Every
Every day,
day.
Every
every
day.
day.
That should have a new meaning now. ED equals?
Every
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 day.
day.
Every day.
That's a time and productivity standard. What time is it?
Ring
Ring
time.
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 Ring time. Next stop.
Platinum.
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 No.
Love y'all. Let's go. Don't
Love
waste
you
the
Take care.
back.
weekend.
Have a blessed week.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a productive weekend.